Hello Internet, I'm Daniel from Cinema Brawls, the show where we talk about movies a lot in a lot of different ways, specifically by putting two movies head to head. But today, with this video, it's just me, and I'm going to be playing Dark Souls, getting my butt kicked by Dark Souls, and talking about movies. One of my favorite things to talk about. So, let's get into it. So, last time I had just barely finished the rafters in Dark Souls, so just get you all caught up here. All right. Right? Yes. Okay. All right. So I have two movies that I want to talk about today. The first one being the movie Ma. Came out in 2019, so this year. So Ma is a kind of a weird movie. So it's directed by Tate Taylor, who also directed The Help, you know, the Oscar-nominated movie The Help. And, I mean, on some extent, that's cool, right? But it is I don't want to say super low-budget horror movie. Ah, dang it. That's what I get for gabbing and Dark Soulsing. But yeah, it's not a super low-budget horror movie. In fact, it has Octavia Spencer in it, which is, oh man. Dang it. Oh, man. I hate this part. Anyway, sorry. So this is the movie Ma, M-A. Directed by Tate Taylor, stars Octavia Spencer, who is also in The Help, funny enough. But this movie is about a girl named Maggie, who she moves to a new town, which is actually an old town. It's where her mom used to grew up and went to high school at. And so she moves there, and it starts off not especially great. But she quickly makes some friends. Like, you know, I went to high school, and I really don't remember it being that fast to make friends. Like, especially friends with people that I knew absolutely nothing about and stuff. But I don't know. It's a small town. Hopefully people are nice in small towns, right? Like, that would be ideal. But I honestly just don't know. But anyway, she makes a small group of friends, and they decide that they're going to go drinking. Man. And they're going to go right around drinking. Which, awesome. Great plan, right? Just a wonderful plan. But to do that, they have awesome. Made it past that part. They ask several people to like buy booze for them. And most people just say no, which good. Don't buy alcohol for teenagers. One, that's illegal, but then two, it's bad for teenagers, right? So, but then they ask Octavia Spencer, who is, crap, what's her name? Let me see. Her name is Sue Ann in the movie, but she just kind of goes by Ma. They just call her Ma. And she's like, no, I'm not going to buy booze for you kids. And then they're like, please? And she goes, okay, yeah, no, all right, fine, I will. It's cool. You know, I'm a perfectly reasonable adult. Yes, absolutely, I will buy booze for these kids. Um, just need a Perry. And so she does. And that's cool, right? No, wrong. It's bad. It's bad and she should feel bad. But anyway. So after buying alcohol for underage kids, she should I do that? Yeah, I'll go fight this guy real quick. They go to this place that they affectionately call the Rocks. Oh no. Wow. I'm bad at this game. That they affectionately call the Rocks. But then she calls the cops on them for some reason. I'm sure it's important. So she calls the cops on them. And the cop shows up and is like, hey, to one of the kids, I knew your dad. I went to high school with him. He seems like a great guy. And you seem like a good kid. So I'm going to just let you guys off with a warning. And oh, really? Okay. I'm going to let you kids off with a warning. And so then the kids clean up and leave. Just clean up their area and go. And they're just fine. And then Ma uses this as an opportunity to be like, hey, instead, just come over into my basement. Which, I mean, yes, that's something that normal people do. Invite underage kids into their basement to drink alcohol. I mean, I guess there are some people that do that, but don't do that. But so dang, all right. Whew, just a sec. Serious time. Oh man, that's it. I'm not going back there for 1,000 souls. It's fine. It's fine. It's cool. It's fine. I'm fine. So they go and start drinking there, but then she gets emotionally attached, and then you find out all this crazy stuff. She went to high school with their parents, and something really awful happened to her. This incredibly just awful, gross thing happened to her. And it's to Sue Ann, Ma. And it's bad, and everyone involved should feel just terrible about it. But she gets crazy and has these attachment issues. sorry, she goes crazy, has these attachment issues, and like just totally starts taking over these kids is their lives. They're like, she doesn't start taking over their lives. That's a bad way of putting it. What she does is she starts just growing so attached to them that she starts bugging them. She starts following them on like the interwebs and Facebook and things like that, and just kind of starts stalking them in a very, very not cool way, and it stems from these emotional attachment issues that she had as a child, as a kid in high school, where she was socially awkward and had these pretty terrible experiences that now she's how do I put it? She is acting out on these emotions of these just, again, awful, awful, terrible things that have happened to her. And that was not supposed to happen. And on some level, I can understand where like the filmmakers were coming with this like this story. It could be an interesting story, but this is a bad movie. What I've talked about is everything that happens, basically. Like, she at the end, she goes crazy, and like you see that coming, and in the trailers it heavily implies that things are just gonna hit the fan, and it's gonna be intense, and stuff is gonna happen, and that is for certain. And yeah, stuff kind of happens. There is definitely stuff. But the problem with the problem that I have with Ma in particular is just how boring it is. Like, the movie trailer is scarier than the movie itself. And just the pacing is not so much a slow burn as much as it is, okay, when are we going to figure out what's actually going on here? Because we know something's going on. We understand that stuff like that just doesn't just happen. We understand the stuff like that. I mean, the stuff like in the trailer, like people, like it doesn't just start out normal and then all of a sudden crazy stuff happens. Not that it won't, but in this kind of movie, there's a progression and there's a formula that they follow, and that's fine. In fact, that's great. And following a formula is important in some cases, especially when exploring new ideas. And I don't know, I haven't seen a movie quite like this before, so I personally thought that it was a good good breath of fresh air, for lack of a better term, in terms of the kind of movies I watch. I don't normally watch movies like that. But again, it was just a bad movie. Like, I don't understand how they got the funding for the, like, okay, I understand how they got the funding for it. I understand what happens in the movie and what makes this movie this movie. What I have a problem with is understanding why they thought that this movie in particular was going to be a good idea. It's just boring. And it's not a slow burn, it's just bad. And it's not... Whew. Sorry, fighting this guy, and this is the real boss of Anne Orlando. And again, just in my opinion, this is just a boring movie, and the trailer didn't do it justice, because if I went in thinking that this was going to be a slow burn, more like a psychological horror, I could get behind that. But it wasn't. It was just a slow movie. Ooh, crap. And the revelations in the movie weren't especially revelatory, in that, for instance, there's a scene where Luke Evans, who's in this movie inexplicably, he confronts Ma about his son, who has been going to her house drinking. And he confronts her by explaining that in his van, which his son has been driving, there is a tracking device. Yes. Woo. There is a tracking device that that tells him where he's at, so he knows that his son has been at her house. And it should be this tense scene, but it starts out with them being friendly, and Ma just thinks that they're there to catch up, and then he just pulls a complete 180 in less than half a second. He's just hey, how are you? Do you keep up with anyone in school? I know a little bit about you, but hey, here, just a sec, and then slams this black box on the table. For all I know, it could have been a toy walkie-talkie. Here, just a sec. Sorry about that. All right. For all it could just be this toy walkie-talkie thing. But he's this is a tracking device, and so I know my son's been at your place, and just starts swearing at her. Ed is just all this terrible stuff to her. And okay, we understand this guy's a jerk. We know that from the very beginning when we first met him. But at the same time, poor why though? Why does he act like this towards her in particular. And there's just no good explanation for it, to be honest. Like, it's just that that's the movie that we have here. And again, it was just kind of bad. I didn't totally love it. Ah, come on. There we go. But then another movie that I've watched recently that was also kind of suffered from the same problem. And the problem and the thing is that I watched both of these movies like one day after another. The next one is We Have Always Lived in the Castle. And this one's directed by Stacy Passon and stars Alexandria Daddario. And the only reason why I know that is because her name is kind of funny to pronounce. Sorry. But anyway, and it's, again, the trailer for this movie was scarier than the movie. And it's just weird to me that stuff like that happens. But this movie follows Alexandria Daddario and her younger sister, played by Tessa Farmiga. It also has Crispin Glover in it and Sebastian Stan. So, you know, some decent names in the movie here. Dang it. Whew. All right. And like, oh man, this is gonna have to be serious time, huh? So the movie's trailer gives this impression that like all this stuff's gonna just go down. Dang it. Whew, sorry. Serious time here, guys. Ornstein and Smeh. Come on, Ornstein. What? Oh man, did you guys see that? This is getting intense. I feel like I'm camping right now. Ah! totally missed there. Ah, crap. Okay. Whew. It's okay. I got this. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Did you see that? Okay. Sorry. Oh, man. Anyway, we have always lived in the castle, and it's based on a book. Oh, sorry. I just need to breathe for a sec. Wow. All right. And it's based on a book by the same name, and it's about these two sisters who, following the death of their parents, live together in their big mansion with their uncle, as played by Crispin Glover. What? Whew. Bad timing. Oh. I can't get another one of those hits. Yes! Oh man, did you guys see that? That was my first try. That was my first try at Ornstein Smith. Yes! Oh man. Alright. Anyway. We have always lived in the castle. So, we have always lived in the castle is potentially an interesting character study. But how the commercials made it sound and made it look was like it was going to be this super intense like creepy horror movie that was like a haunted house kind of a movie, but not really, and just like what was going on. And that's fine that it wasn't exactly like the commercial. That's okay. But what bugged me was just the lack of, how do I put this? The lack of anything meaningful that happened. It has this really weird... That really help, does it? Shh. Has this really weird monologue by the little sister, and like the whole time you like feel like the little sister's crazy, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what makes this movie bad. I just felt like it was super boring, and it wasn't anything like the commercials, which kind of upset me. Not upset, but you know, it was just weird. I didn't love it, but that's okay. And that is probably where I'm going to leave you off today. Sorry, this one was a little bit rambling, but please watch our other videos. We've got great brawls, especially the John Wick versus Batman. That one seems to be getting pretty big, where we put two movies head to head and see which movie is the best. Unfortunately, we don't actually make them fight. That would be awesome. But we just try to discuss the merits of the movies and see what's better. It's me, Matt, and Jake, and we are the face of Cinema Brawls. But thanks for watching this. Stay tuned next time where I hopefully take on the rest of Dark Souls, and we'll see how it goes. I've passed Ornstein and Smell, so that's not too bad. But yeah, bye.